If you're an artist looking for reference pieces or inspiration from other artists, I can't suggest Pinterest enough. You can make a bunch of boards for different themes, topics, artists, art styles, etc, etc. And usually the types of art pieces that I love are the ones that tell a bit of a story to them, or simply narrative illustrations. Illustrations that tell a whole story, makes the viewer feel all sorts of emotions, or represent something. It's sort of what drives me to become an illustrator of some sorts in the near or far future. And one day I found this image and I couldn't help but wonder who the artist was. And that's when Little Thunder comes into play. Little Thunder is a cartoonist based in Hong Kong, and when she was a teenager she began drawing comics, then moved on to video game and commercial illustrations. Then by the time 2001 came around, she became a full-time artist and got the Best New Artist Award at the China-Japan Comics Exchange in 2002. Now, I'm gonna be honest, this is all information that I got on Wikipedia, because other than knowing her as a person, or getting her art books and reading her interviews, there's really no way of knowing more about her as a person personally. And honestly, I don't blame any artist for keeping a level of anonymity. Sometimes fans get a bit too much these days. Anyway, Little Thunder is an artist that I've always seen but never knew who they were. I've seen the cover of Illustrators 2021, and I've seen her art books here and there, to which I do own them all, except for Chloe, which is a 3-volume surreal comic. And by the time of me writing the script, she has finally released the Japanese version of Chloe, which I will get very soon. Also, this is going to be a bit different than the typical artist analysis in which I look at their inked work, colored work, character design, and so on and so forth. It's literally just going to be me rambling about the work they've done and some illustrations. So think of these as artist analysis quickies. However, first things first, she has an Instagram, a YouTube, Twitter, and if you want to see exclusive content, go ahead and support her Patreon. If there's an artist that you like out there, I can't stress enough that you should always go out and support them. Anyway, if I'm looking her up on Google or Pinterest, you can see the main focus of most of her art is women. And to be fair, I feel that's the deal we made with God when we want to be an artist. We can't just help but draw women, me included. Not all artists are like this, of course. And honestly, I wish I could explain why we are like this, but that may be a topic I could talk about in a later video. Anyway, the women she draws are gorgeous, but they also look very stern and strong-willed. Sexy, but not sexualized. They have a bit of edge and power in the way they look. Sometimes they can also be showing a lot of skin or posed in a very sexy way, but it's not in the pandering to the male gaze type of way, if you know what I mean. Like in this piece, it's a nice bottom-up point of view that makes it seem that she is towering over the viewer. Or how about the complete opposite with a top-down point of view shot? But that sharp look on her face really sells the emotion of this illustration. Another piece that I like is this one. In this piece, she dives deep into how women are always stigmatized for their body image, always getting these criticisms, but notice how the facial expression is drawn. She's smiling. She looks comfortable in her own skin regardless of the comments around her. It's very empowering. In fact, I would say most of her pieces tell a bit of a story or have a message in them regarding women. Like in this piece called Grocery Shopping, a scuffed up woman bandaged up shopping for body parts, bones, hearts, eyes, teeth, brain, etc, etc. It actually reminds me of Dororo if you know that anime. And honestly, I could come with a couple of interpretations just by looking at this. But this also leads to another thing that Little Thunder does a lot with the women she draws. They are wounded, bandaged up, and more times than not has a nosebleed. Especially nosebleeds. It's that extra layer that adds a level of edge to the woman she draws, as I mentioned before. She's even been asked why she always draws nosebleeds on the woman she draws, and as she responded, "'Cause it's fun." Little Thunder is also so good with lighting. In this piece, you can really see how she knows how light and shadow behaves on the human figure. Using hard and soft edges to indicate how light is drawn on different plane changes is something really hard to do without an exact reference. Hell, even with a reference, it is very hard to do. And not just skin, she knows how to render very glossy, highly reflective surfaces like the metal or something latex, and all sorts of fabrics and materials. And just a quick side note, I want you guys to take note of how versatile she is in all sorts of mediums. She does pencil, pen and ink, acrylic, digital, Copic markers, but what seems to be her specialty and her choice of medium seems to be watercolor, but she does dip into acrylic a lot for her larger pieces. Also, look how large some of her pieces are. These are huge. And she does multiple pieces of this size, but I think by far my favorite piece is this one. You can view normally like this, or if you take a picture of this piece and invert the colors, it still works. And it would be one thing if this image was done, say, digitally, but this is a traditional piece. This was done with acrylic paint. Imagine how much time it would take to do this. I do believe that she must have had some sort of reference image to see what colors would turn to what when inverted, but I've never seen a concept like this done before. Moving away from single illustrations, she is also well versed in animation. Remember how she's good at lighting? Well, she did a whole animation cycle with how light interacts on the face, and on top of that, it's an animation illustration done with watercolor, and she's done many more. Again, she is so well versed in so many mediums. And on top of animation, she's also done sculpture, and recently she did a sculpture called Nosebleed Girl. And in this post she made on Instagram, she does go a bit more in depth as to why she tends to do illustrations of women having nosebleeds a lot. And one of those illustrations is the cover for her comic Wakame, Nami, and Mugen. I actually own this comic, and I will say this costed a lot, and once you buy it, you'll sort of see why. I sort of want to talk about this comic because I do like the contents of it, and I don't see anyone else talking about it, so here I go. The story of this comic centers around two people: Wakame, a girl with a strip of seaweed on her head, to which Wakame is a type of seaweed, and a guy named Wave, or Nami if you want to go by the Japanese name. And this guy has a hairstyle that sort of looks like devil horns. Basically, these two are caught up in this situation in which they're either constantly falling in love with each other or trying to kill each other, and it spans across universes. And these universes are separated by each chapter of this comic. And the reason why I believe this physical comic itself is so much is that it isn't printed on normal paper. Each universe is printed on a different type of paper, and on top of that, Little Thunder draws in a different style to represent each different universe. And honestly, that is so cool. I don't regret any amount of money I spent on this. It is so worth it, and I can't wait to get my hands on Chloe whenever I have the chance. Anyway, again, I'm not trying to make these videos so long as my artist analysis. It's going to be a bit more short form than that. I don't want you guys to be waiting a long time for me to look at artists that are a bit more active on social media. I don't really know how to explain it, but the artist that I'm going to be looking at in this video series is going to be different from the artist I look at in my basic artist analysis series. Features artists that I'm going to be looking at, for example, are going to be people like Ilya Kuvshnov, Artgerm, Yume, Sam Does Art, etc, etc. People that I could look up on Instagram or see their work on DeviantArt or something like that. And honestly, I might have to make a sub-series especially for Western comic book artists. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Hello YouTube, it's been a while again since my last video. I said that I was going to upload this last week, and that didn't happen obviously, but it's going to be out, well, by the time I finish recording this audio and rendering this video. This is going to be a different type of video series separate from my artist analysis, where I look at artists, you know, more easily accessible, I guess, different from the manga artists and character designs I've looked in my previous videos. If you do like this type of video, please let me know, because this is the first video of my series and I don't know how well this will track on with you guys. But for the guys that did make it to the end of this video, thank you so much for sticking around. Like the video, please. I see what you guys like the video. Comment. I don't reply to them anymore, or whenever I want to, I will reply. But I do read all the comments because it is a bad habit that I'm not going to get rid of probably. And subscribe. I like it when you subscribe. The number, it's going up. Please subscribe. If you want, there's the links to my social media accounts in the description. Follow my Twitter. I sometimes post on Twitter. My Instagram, I haven't posted since December, but I do use that. And Patron, if you want to support, send me money over there too. I really appreciate that as well. And again, I'm also going to be putting the names of the people that do donate to me, not donate to me, or support me or send me money on Patreon on these end screens. So just to give a easy shout out to you guys, since I feel bad that I'm not doing as much as I want to. But again, thank you so much for watching this video, and hopefully the next video isn't going to take as long as this video took to make. Anyway, thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.